Alright, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine day. Today's video du jour is we're going to do an after-action report of my 4-session mini-campaign of Symbaroum. I did not have the GM screen, and so I decided to buy the starter box set, and I'm kind of glad I did because it had a lot of cool stuff in it. I believe I did an unboxing video for it in the archives. If I didn't, somebody let me know, and if you guys want to see one, let me know, and I'll do one. But I think there's plenty of videos out there that show you what comes in the box. But some of the things I did, I ran it for 4 sessions. Each session ran about 3 to 4 hours, and we had a blast. I had this pretty cool story of how the players were going to be in Thistlehold, which is the main city right before you get into Davokar, which is the big, deep, dark forest where monsters abound and everything. And one of my players gave me a gift of storytelling wonder, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I want to go over some of the things that I did to help make running the game a little easier, because I didn't have a GM screen. I did print, I have a PDF of the GM screen, so I did print that, and I just taped it to another GM screen, and I used that, and it worked okay. But one of the things I found that was most helpful is I laminated these, and I printed out the attributes and modifiers. This was very, very helpful, and I just stuck it on the inside of my GM screen, and then I printed several copies of this, the combat situation, and I laminated it, and I gave one to each player so that they could kind of look at it and be aware of kind of how combat flowed. And so these were very helpful. The other big thing that I did is I did pick up the monsters and traits. And I'm very glad I did, because this was very helpful for like NPCs and monsters and abilities and or traits, mainly traits. There's no skills per se in Symbaroum. There's traits. So if you want to forage in the woods, you would have to have the trait bushcraft. And then that would give you the abilities depending on what rank you have it at: novice, adept, or master. So there's always 3 levels to each trait. And they go novice, which is beginning, adept, which is middle of the road, and novice, which is, or master, which is, the best there is. And so these were very handy because it had all the traits and abilities of the monsters on the cards, and all I had to do was reference the card instead of flipping over the monster manual and things like that. So that was very interesting and very useful. So we're going to go over the players. So I had Darren was playing an ogre bodyguard named Lucky. My friend Baki was playing an Ambrian female noble called Lily Capella. Anthony was playing an Ambrian Ordo Magicus mage named Damon. And Dom was playing a barbarian named Vicomer. And we were based out of Thistlehold, and they were staying in the Toad's Square area, which is number 37 on the map if you have the Thistlehold map. And the lodging that they procured was the Ruin, number 12, which is where real treasure hunters stay. Actually, this quote from the book. Master Pargallo was the Ruin owner. Persons of note. They did deal with Kadra, a fortune hunter. They kind of talked with her once or twice. Ganderald, which was an explorer. He was part of the Ordo Magica. They didn't really interface with him. Elda, the antiques dealer, she had bone-colored hair and bone-colored skin. She's a barbarian, and she's kind of an outsider. But they managed to find some artifacts and some minor wonders in the forest, and they were able to come back. And then the NPC that stole the show was Valome de Rego, a noble. And then so what happened is Baki's character, the Lily Capella, was a noble. She's also a rogue, and she was betrothed. Now, I had this pretty cool adventure where they were to go into the woods, and they were going to get hounded by this witch who hated Ambrians. And since I had 2 Ambrians in the party, it was going to work out well, because her love, the barbarian tribe elder that she was kind of in love with, she was the tribal witch, was slain by Ambrian knights several years ago, and so she has this deep hatred for Ambrians, and so she has let that hatred fester, and she has turned to the dark Davakar and is using, magics that are best not used by witches. And so she's very tainted and corrupted is the proper word. And so Lady Capella, or Lily as she likes to be called, was on the run for 6 months. And the player Baki just gave this to me kind of as an offhanded comment. And when he gave that to me, just something clicked, and I went, oh, I've got my adventure. And so it turned into this. They went and did a small little adventure in the woods. They found some other mysteries that if we ever go back to play this again, we'll be able to expound upon those. A possible dragon. It was pretty cool. I set the stage really well. And they found this Night Lord Odelin Falgren, who was Lily's betrothed, but he's a very cruel master. And Lily's family is a very minor noble house, and she was betrothed to him, and there's rumors of the court that he killed his last 2 wives. Of course, nothing could be proven because he's a noble, and who's going to raise a word against him. And he's also, in my world, he was one of the 12 knights that brought Katrina, I believe her name is Katrina or Catherine, the current queen of Ambria, brought her back from the Dark Masters or whatever, the bad guys. And so he's of very high status, and so she was betrothed to him, and he's hoping that she will birth him a male heir, because his current son is kind of a disappointment to him, and he's having all kinds of issues. And they never caught on that he already had a male son, and so they didn't really put 2 and 2 together in that aspect. It was kind of a missed role-playing opportunity, but they did gather that this guy is rumored to have killed his last 2 wives because they kept producing daughters and not male. He wanted another male son. So, but they didn't pick up on that clue, but that's okay. He sent a huntsman after Lily and with a couple of thugs, and they easily dispatched them. It wasn't even really a fight. And Lily, the rogue, because of the ability she took, she did 1 hit. She hit for 20 hit points, 20 points of damage in 1 hit. So the way she built her character, she was a monster. And then we had some stuff with the Ordo Magicus and Anthony's character Damon, where he was able to find some artifacts and turn them into the Ordo Magicus and do everything. We didn't have anybody playing a Priest of Light, so we didn't get Prios involved too much, but more as an NPC. They were dealing with Father Benegal Theodine, the senior priest of Prios there in Thistlehold, and it was all things. So it was a big 4 episodes. 3 of the episodes were them trying to get out of sticky situations with this Night Lord and figure out how they were going to escape. And the party was amazing. They really role played. And one of the joys of this game is that I, as the GM, don't have to roll any dice. I basically put the players in a situation and I tell them what they're going to do, and then they react however it is that they choose to react and how they want to do things. And so it was interesting to see the plans that they came up with and the mechanizations, and it was quite refreshing, as opposed to running an adventure out of a book where I have to come up with everything and I have to, roll the dice, and I could just focus on telling the story. And I found there was a certain amount of freedom in that for me I've been a GM for 30 years. And there was a certain amount of joy in just focusing on the story and giving all the NPCs unique quirks and names. And not that I don't do that in a normal game, but I just found it a little bit easier and not having to worry about having a pile of dice in front of me and having to know stats. I could just, look at that little card, and based on how good or bad I thought the person was at that attribute, or if I had a monster card in front of me, I could look at it, in reference. And so it was just painless to run, to be honest. The rules are very simple. The players, I got to give a big shout out to Darren. He knew the rules pretty backwards and forwards, and so he was able to point me in the right way when I got things wrong, because I've only ran the intro adventure to this game and that was over a year ago. I ran it for a bunch of people with Nasser Super Beast. So it's been over a year since I've played it, I think, and I just had so much fun. So I would definitely say, if you want a miniatures game, excuse me, if you want an RPG that focuses on the story but still allows, a lot of dice rolling and a lot of in-game mechanics where it involves the dice, and what I mean by that is a lot of people don't like the narrative stories. They don't like the Powered by the Apocalypse games or the Blades in the Dark type games. And they like games that, let them, more crunch to them. This one's kind of that really sweet middle ground. Symbaroum has the crunch, but it's all on the player side. The GM, I don't roll any dice, so therefore I don't adjudicate anything positive or negative. The players control everything, and then I just tell them, what happens if they fail. If they succeed, they get to narrate what they want, which is very much like Powered by the Apocalypse or a narrative type game. So it was a lot of fun in my aspect. I really enjoyed it. The players seemed to enjoy themselves. They had a good time. Long story short, they were able to pull a fast one on the Lord, and the Lord was mad, and he left, and they are in the wilds doing what they do, and to be determined at a future date. So she got away. Could it come back to haunt her again? Possibly. We don't know, but she's gone and out from underneath his clutches, so to speak, as it stands. And that's where we left the game. And if we ever come back to it, we'll pick up from there. I have my little notebook, and I have all the notes in it, so I'm very excited. The players seem to have enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun. It was, like I said, we ran I'd say about 13, 14 hours total, and it was a lot of fun. So I think if you're looking for that game that allows you as a GM to flex your storytelling muscles without having to worry about mechanics too much, you still have to be aware of mechanics. You don't obviously want to put the players up against, an elder dragon in the middle of a city. That's probably going to be bad. But, the rules go a long way to kind of tell you, how to set up adventures and how to educate the story. And I highly recommend picking up the Game Master's Guide. It's an excellent book, has a lot of useful information in it, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I just want to do a quick video on that, and like I said, I'll post this soon. I'm trying to get a little more content backlogged into the library so that I can just post things and have some content always in the wings ready for you guys. So we do have a review of Prowlers and Paragons by Evil Beagle Games, which is Sean Patrick Fannon's company. Of course, his non de plume, if those that don't know, is the Big Irish. And so we're also we'll be having him on the show for an interview. And I'm on, let's see, so a little housekeeping there. That kind of wraps it up. I just wanted to give everybody an idea of my afterthoughts of Symbaroum, and if you've been on the fence about buying it, please pick it up. It's totally worth it, I think, if you're into that kind of storytelling and you don't want to have to worry about mechanics or worry about dice rolls. The players do all the dice rolling in the game, so it's phenomenal. But a little housekeeping here. We are at 937 subscribers, so we're knocking it down. Hoping to get to 1,000 by the first of the new year, 2022. We are on Patreon. You can there's links down in the doobly-doo. We also have a very active Discord where we discuss many types of role-playing games and lots of different genres of role-playing games and things like that. So if you're into that and you're into Discord, come join us on the Discord. Come join the mini horde. We would love to have you. Again, we're on Patreon. We're on PayPal, PayMe. So if you just want to do a one-time donation to the channel, everything goes back into the channel. And we've got some cool stuff coming up in the future. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching as always. If you have any thoughts on Symbaroum, if you got to run it, please post down in the below or jump on Discord and let us know. Love to talk to you about it. I'm really liked the game. I was very enamored with the mechanics and the storytelling and the way the system flowed. It really worked for me. So without any more hubbub, I will say thank you, peace and hair grease, and remember, as always, Love one another. Be nice. Take care of yourselves. Till next time.